Okay, so time to start. Um, Let me reintroduce myself. First of all, you may have come here from the FujoGuide Kickstarter. This is slightly different. So we are using the FujoGuide Kickstarter as a base, but this is going to be a slightly different stream because we are not really raising for money anymore. So let me introduce myself. People call me Miss Boba, and I was and am the project lead on FujoGuide. But also, what I actually do is, together with a team of volunteers, I run a series of projects that are trying to empower niche online community and especially transformative fandom people to just take control of their own spaces, take control of their online presence, and collaborate on each other on programs and website and all the fun stuff. Um, so yeah, particularly me and this team that we've put together are focused on bringing web development and open source collaboration to people that have felt excluded from the places where these are usually taught and the knowledge is spread. That's the bit long-winded explanation. So as I was saying, this stream initially was part of FujoGuide and it still kind of is. But now that the Kickstarter is done, I really want to go to a more informal style of teaching that is more similar to what I usually do with people on the projects that I run. So I have prepared a bit, but it is going to be slightly more informal, and you're going to see me struggle sometimes. I have trouble doing things. That's just how it is. You are going to see. Doesn't matter if you've done this for 15 years. Sometimes the computer just decides to do what it wants. And yes, and also these lessons will be interactive, so please stop me if you don't understand something. Sometimes my explanation can be needlessly complicated, or there can be terms that I give for granted. And just stop me, just let me know. So with all of this, let's talk about static site generators, and in particular about Astro. Let me show you the Astro website because it's cute. Ta-da! This is the Astro website. I'm not gonna read what it says there because it hey kitten. I don't know if you're hearing my kitten, but it tends to be a bit dense. So I want to say, what is a static site generator? But more importantly, why is a static site generator? So the problem that static site generators are trying to solve is that in HTML, CSS, these technologies are great, but the reality is that as your website grows, it kind of becomes a pain in the ass to update it. You are making a single page, everything goes well. You start making 2 pages, you start copy pasting code around. Before you know it, you have 15 pages, you don't know what is where anymore. You have, every time you want to change a class, for example, in your navigation, add a new link, you have to go through every single page and update it. It just becomes a chore. That's my experience. That's other people's experience. And static site generator, in a way, are like a better word is possible. So how do they do this? Well, there are a lot of different static site generators, and each one of them has their own language and syntax. So there isn't really a single way. But what really happens is that instead of writing the classic HTML and CSS, you will write this language that is specific to the static site generator you're using, and then you will do what's called building your website. And so there is this program that goes through all the files and then creates the final HTML and CSS and JavaScript from what you have specified. And the idea is that instead of rewriting your navigation all the time, instead of copying and pasting a huge, huge pre-made code for each one of your blog pages, you can write a lot less repeated code and yet still get the same result. So yeah, that's the idea. Let me look at the chat if there is anything. Well, everyone excited about my kitty? Yes, she's great. The Ria says the header and footer problem. Yeah, it is the header and footer problem, right? 100% think that's that's where people get the problem most. Yeah, so with a static site generator, you won't have the header and footer problem again. You will have a whole different set of problems, but hopefully not as many. It's gonna be different, and they're hopefully gonna be sometimes more infuriating, sometimes more interesting. We're gonna see. Oh yeah, Astro. Sorry, Astro. Astro is a somewhat new static site generator. It really gained popularity in the last years. People are really excited about it. Actual professional web developers love Astro. And my experience trying to teach fandom folks about Astro is that they also love it, which is great. Personally, I find it as a really simple and intuitive syntax that really allows people to use their knowledge of basic HTML and CSS and translate it to and just you have that knowledge, you're gonna use it, it's gonna feel intuitive, and then yes, it's gonna generate the website, but you're really going to be feeling a bit like you're still writing a website the way you know. And I haven't felt like that with previous static site generators. There are some popular ones, or like Hugo or Eleventy, and I never liked them. I'm so sorry. But then I found Astro and I fell in love with them, with it. So that's what I'm gonna be pushing on you all. So let me double check I've said everything I should say. So one thing I was missing is that Astro has a really cool syntax for a concept that's very widespread in modern web development, which is the one of custom components. We will see what those are, but in short, you are going to be able to create your own HTML-like tags, and you're going to be able to compose your website out of them. So as Ria was mentioning the header and footer problem, instead of rewriting, footer, nav, ul, li, homepage, I'm missing one, li, a, homepage, and everywhere, you can just add your navigation component as an HTML tag, and that's gonna be auto-expanded by the generator. Leah says components are awesome. Yes, they are. They're amazing. Okay, so does anyone have questions until now? I'm not gonna move forward until someone says no. Likan Byte says, me still am writing everything in Notepad like it's 2003. I'm scared. Sometimes we have to like pry Notepad out of people's hands. Yeah, like literally. Like I understand where you're coming from. It is a common feeling, and I believe in you. You can do it. There is actually, we can talk about it later at another time if you do want to have a more modern web development experience without committing to programs on your computer. There are amazing sites like Replit that kind of allow you to try these things in the cloud. So, if you're not feeling ready to commit, later give it a try on SSE at the cloud. Actually, since I'm here, I'm gonna pitch just that you can go to astro.new and it will have some starter and you can open it in Stackblix, Gitbot, Code Sandbox, and that's going to give you a place in the cloud, an editor where you can play around with it. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna this way today. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Chat and collections are powerful. I literally made LiveJournal style user picks as a collection, and I can reference them from the blog entry collections. Is so cool. Collections are so cool. We aren't gonna look at them today, but I am vibrating internally at the idea of getting there at some point, because you are all going to have so much fun with collections. I can already tell. Are these free? Yes, they are. There are obviously premium features, but I think for the most part, for what people are using them as, they are free. I'm assuming you're referring to Stackblix, Gitpod, all of these things. And once you give them a try and you're like, okay, yes, I'm starting to feeling confident that I know how this works, you can install the development environment on your machine. Though I think if you don't have a machine, I know a lot of people do mobile only development through Replit. So that's another way that these websites help. Blah, 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 going down. I will at some point figure out how to put the chat on my Twitch stream. For now, sorry. Give me a moment. What else? Okay, people pitching Notepad++ and hear me going like, try VS Code. It's great. Okay, yeah. But I let the chat go. Let's start. Okay, so what project are we doing with a static site generator? Now, if you were on our last stream, you might have followed us doing this web page or main page for this current project. Oh, Bookworm, hi. We did this with pure HTML and CSS. And now we are moving it to a static site generator, so I don't have to die inside every time I'm thinking of making a new web page for it. One thing we have done that we didn't have last time is we now have a GitHub organization. Sorry. Well, I guess this page is fine. It's still pretty empty. But we now have a GitHub organization for the Fujoshi guide to the to the galaxy, to web development. And so this used to be on my personal repository. It's now here. And I'm going to use this as an excuse to also show you how to collaborate on an open source project, like what the flow is like. So here, the current FujoWeb website is in this, what's called a GitHub repo, and which is just, here is the code. It is uploaded to the cloud. Look at this. Our images are all here. our lonely index.html file is here. And me and everyone else that has, well, I think everyone else actually that wants can collaborate on this website and propose additions and edits to it. How is that done? Well, it is done through the pull request process that we will see. The first step in this process is we are going to take this repository and we are going to fork it. Forking it just means I'm going to take the code as it is in the FujoGuide organization and I'm going to make a copy in my own personal GitHub account. So here it says, forking a repository allows you to freely experiment with changes without affecting the original project, which is, yeah, the cat is going. She has opinions. Sorry, got lost, distracted by the cat. So as I was saying, they allow you to freely experiment with changes without affecting the original project, which means I create this copy of the code, I play around with it. If I completely fuck it up, no one in the original project is going to have an issue with it. I'm working on my copy, and yeah, and it also allows me to like take something that someone has been working on that has like a permissive license so that I'm legally authorized to do it and just go from there and change everything and make it mine. So here is what we're doing. First step, copying the code to my account. So I create a fork and now it is forking. It takes a second. And ta-da! It is here. It is exactly the same code. Here is index.html. Here are the images. Here you can say that it, well, first of all, this is my account, as you can see on top of here, and it says that it was forked from the Fujo Web Dev organization. Sorry. That's it. Now from here, I can start making edits to this. And to do edits, I'm going to move to my favorite VS Code. So let me get the window. Let me clear this. Secret, I have already done this yesterday and now we're gonna redo it together. So that was a leftover of me cleaning up everything. So after we do a fork, the next step is we are going to take the code that sits on GitHub and we're going to put it on my own machine. So I'm going to take this here, I'm going to go to on code and there is this clone, which is the process. We're going to clone the code to my own machine. I'm going to copy this URL and then I'm going to go to my command line interface that it's within GitHub. There are UI tools that you can do if you don't want to touch. Whoa, yeah, you're right, wrong window, sorry. Take two. I have a thing where I can do both. Look how cool I've become. So I was saying I go here and I click on this HTTPS URL. Yes, here, look at this. Here. There are various ones. HTTPS usually works. And then we go to VS Code. I'm gonna make it bigger. There. And then I'm going to type git clone and I'm going to put the web address here and then I press enter. Things happen. It's cloning. And now if I look within my folder, ls command for list, there is a Fujo Web Dev folder. I'm gonna make the thing a bit fancier here. The D says this is a directory. And then I'm gonna move with the change directory command within this directory. And when I list the files, now you can see, well, there is a Git file, which signals that it's a Git repository, but also there is the images folder and there is the index.html5 that we downloaded. Now let's check it out. I can do code index.html to open it here in VS Code. And yeah, that's the same code. That's the same code I have there. It's done. It's here. It's mine. And now I can do whatever I want with it. Let me double check what people have said. Red Banshee says VS Code my true love. Yeah, it's mine too. And yeah, sorry. Please feel free to holler if I go on the wrong, if I'm in the wrong window while I do this. I am new to this. Well, that's some real Twitch streamer stuff. Yes, I'm getting better. And yeah, the D is here in this incredibly complicated string of characters that does make sense, but we're not gonna get into what it is today. So that put a copy of the entire directory into a folder on your local machine. Yes, it literally took the code that is, let me get both again, that is here on the browser. Well, not on the browser, that it's on GitHub, downloaded it on my machine, and put it there in a folder. It's there. It's mine. There it is. I love that Red Banshee says, I love the VS Code as Git integration, even though I'm still trying to figure out Git. I think the VS Code Git integration makes it a lot easier for people that are starting to get comfortable with it, to get more comfortable with it. And it's a big part of why I recommend VS Code to beginners. It is very comfy. I missed stuff, so apologies if you've mentioned it, but can you just skip Git and do directly into VS Code, or do you have to do this with Git as a starting point? You can do this directly in VS Code. Like, VS Code allows you to, it's just a code editor. It's like, if you want to do it with Notepad, or if you want to do it with VS Code, the base thing you're doing is the same. Git gives you a lot of cool additions on top. If you do want to download the code without installing it, there is a download zip here at the bottom of the code. You can download the zip file and you can do the edits. You're not gonna have the cool Git commands, but you can do it. You can, grab it, steal it. Skip Git if that makes you more willing to try it. But yeah, Git is not necessary. That's handy. It grabbed the subdirectory for the images too. Yeah, it grabs everything. Like, I literally took that code and put it somewhere. And I can do it wherever. I can copy it 15 times on like 15 different computers and like 15 different folders. This thing here on GitHub is the, I guess, the source of truth, as sometimes people call it. But it is it is a safe copy that I can work on, and that it's going to stay here, protected by the power of Microsoft, who owns GitHub, I guess, and protected by the power of very expensive cloud machines and data redundancy. commit technical legal crimes, just grab the code and run off with it. Yeah, we haven't added really a license to this. I don't want to go on a rabbit hole about open source licenses. We should discuss them at some point. But yeah, you go do you. And also Git is very sad at being deemed not necessary. I know. Okay. Keep me on track. We are doing this. So now back to the code. Okay, so circling back, we have downloaded the code to my folder. Everything that was uploaded on GitHub is now here on my local machine. Because I cloned this with the git command, it created a Git repository, and we can see it because the setup for my terminal very helpfully has this little bit here at the bottom that tells me I'm in a Git repository and I'm on the main branch of it. So the first thing you want to do if you are a serious person that does things as they're supposed to be done, when you want to go edit some code, is we create a new branch. So the command is git switch -c, I assume for create, and then a name, and let's call it move to Astro. So now here you can see in this part, within this parenthesis, it says move to Astro, which means that I'm now in a different branch that's not main anymore. What does this mean? So a branch is literally a new version of your code that has been branched from the state the code was in when you ran the command. So you had your code and now you create a different copy, and if you edit this different copy, all the edits are just going to stay contained within the branch. At any point, you can use commands like checkout to move across these different branches. And so this allows you to experiment with your code, make changes in parallel, try something risky, fuck everything up, and then be like, okay, you know what, never mind, let's go back to main, let's create a new branch, let's try again. It's really useful. And it's, once you get it, it's very simple. Alternate timeline, Astro AU canon divergent. Yes. It's like a fork, but in the same folder. It kinda is. There are differences, but the idea is somewhat, now you have a fresh copy of, okay, again, some people would murder me for saying this, but you have a fresh copy of your code that you can do whatever you want on without impacting the original one. So now we have this Astro branch, and we are going to install Astro within this copy. So there are a few ways of doing this. The one difficulty that we are going to have is that we are going to when you install Astro, you usually need to have an empty directory. So if I try to install it here, it's gonna yell at me and tell me I need a directory that is empty. So a couple of ways of solving this. Someone on Fandom Coder yesterday gave me a really cool way that I hadn't thought about, and I'm kind of tempted to just try that one like live without knowing how it's gonna go. So I'm going to try, and if this doesn't work, please pretend you haven't seen it. So adventure time, yes. So first thing I am going to do is, if I remember correctly how this was done, first of all, I'm gonna open the folder in VS Code. So you're gonna see now it has my files actually there. So I think what they did, which was I thought was extremely smart, was they made a new folder and they called it public. Then they shoved all this code within the public folder, and then they took the terminal and they created a new commit where everything was moved in the public folder. So here you can see we had git status tells us the difference between the files as they were last known to Git and the state of the files as they are now. And you can see deleted all the original file, but there is a new public folder. So I'm going to add everything to my commit. And now it correctly realizes that everything has been renamed. And then I'm going to do a new commit that says moved files to public folder. And now if I look at its status, you can see that there is nothing to commit. The working tree is clean. So what I've done with that is I have created a checkpoint. So when I cloned the repository, that code was in a certain state. At a special commit, you can see here, if I do git log, that shows you all the various states your code has been, all the checkpoints you've created in the past. And here is the add link on roster pick was the last thing we did. You can see here it kind of talks about the other branches we have, main and the ones on GitHub. This bit here basically says that's where those branches are currently at. That's the checkpoint they're at. But there is a new commit, so a new checkpoint that is where the move to Astro branch is at. And it says this is where we moved files to public folder. That's what I did. Hope this makes sense. Please do let me know if it's confusing. But what this allows me to do, if I break this, if this does not work out, I can go back to a previous state. So now let's do something a bit crazy. So what the person very helpfully suggested was to delete the public folder. I'm gonna do it actually manually, so it doesn't look like I'm doing too much command line magic. Delete it, it's gone. The directory is now empty. And if I do git status, you see all the files have been deleted. Now this normally you would be like, oh, what? Are we gonna really do this? Yes. And now with my now empty directory, I can finally run the magic command to install Astro here. This is the command. You can find it on the Astro documentation. And let me break it down a little bit. Ellen says, this is the delete system32 equivalent for a website, right? I mean, if kinda yes. I was gonna say only if you have a checkpoint you can restore from after you deleted system32, but you do kind of have that with Windows, I think. So yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Totally normal thing to do. And Ria says, oh, so now it's empty. Yes, I did this in a different way yesterday, and then I did this way, and I was like, oh, that's so much smarter. Now it's empty, and now we're gonna run this command, npm create Astro at latest. breaking it down, first bit, what is npm? npm is a program. It is a program. It is part of the Node.js. I guess that's also a program, but it's part of like this Node.js tooling, which is a modern JavaScript tooling. Anyway, those things aside, what npm does is it allows you to take pre-existing code that exists in what I want to describe as a big library of code in the cloud, and then allows you to take it from there and run it on your machine and as part of your website. And there is a lot on npm. There are small scripts, there are big scripts, there are many things that you might have heard of, like you would get a React from npm, you would get jQuery, which you shouldn't get, but like you may have heard of it and you would get it from there. You may get cool pre-made things for like gallery websites and all that. And yeah, npm is cool. So we are going to use npm to fetch a program. And this program is Astro. And in particular, npm create. I don't exactly actually know the full history behind create, but what I do know is that it's a special command that is usually used to run command line instructions that will do cool things in your repository, well, in your folder. I would say you don't usually need to run npm create unless the instructions specifically tell you to run create. And in this case, we're going to indeed run this npm create Astro, and here at latest says the latest version of it. So, okay, running time. Now, see, Houston. This is the Astro mascot, and it's really cute, and that's how they get you. So time to build a new website. Launch sequence initiated. Where should we create your project? Oh, Ria demands a bigger Houston. Who am I to deny a bigger Houston? Here, look at the boy, man, or I don't know. I haven't asked Houston. I haven't asked Houston. I'm going to assume it's a boy. Please do let me know if there is voice of God on Houston's gender identity. Ria says that's certainly how they got me. It is. I know. Everyone is like in love with Houston. I do think that, it does say something that they're doing it this way. It speaks, I think, to the interest of Astro in being a static site generator that is accessible to also beginners and people that love a friendly space and environment to practice things in. So I love Houston. I think it's a really cool thing that they have this. And so okay, back on track. These are really going to be when I was doing this for the FujoGuide Kickstarter, I tried to keep myself in check, but now it's basically time for the ADHD to kind of seep in. Keep me on track. Ria says, sorry, I'm a professional derailer, and I am a professional person that gets derailed. So, okay, where should we create our project? Dot, which stands for the current directory. Wait, what do you mean invalid not printable character present? Okay. Let's try again. Dot. Okay, that's better. Some water. Going to reply to the comments in a second. Let me go through this. So how would you like to start your new project? You can include sample files, so that will give you something to start with and start editing. Use the blog template. You can have a blog, or you can do empty. We're gonna do empty. Copying. Look at the gradient, it's so cute. Install dependencies. I'm not gonna do this because I'm gonna show you how to do that. Remember to install dependencies after setup. Please do remember. Do you plan to write TypeScript? Of course I plan to write TypeScript. We don't even know what that is, but yes, the answer is yes. There is only one right answer. How strict should TypeScript be? I am tempted to go with strictest, because that's just our role, but let's go with the recommended strict. Strictest. I know everyone wants TypeScript to be very strict with them. We haven't even designed really TypeScript, but I am already kind of like, ooh. I'm not gonna make the comments I want to make. Okay, it's done. Astro is installed. If I now list the files here, there are a lot more than were before. There is a README that Astro very kindly wrote. I didn't. Package.json, we're going to see what that is. The SRC folder. SRC stands for source, and it's where the source code of our website is going to be. A public folder, that is roughly what would be the root folder in our regular website. So that's going to be the publicly accessible files. Again, we'll see that later. Astro configuration, no need to look into it too much at this stage. And tsconfig.json, that's the configuration for TypeScript. And we're also not going to talk about TypeScript right now. Now, let's let me actually explore, like show you the files. How do I do this? Close the welcome editor. Here you can see a little bit more the file structure. In public there is the fav icon. In SRC we have this pages folder, which has this index.astro. Oh my god, sorry, it's really getting cramped. Shut up. And here is the HTML page. We're gonna go look into this a bit more, but just to give you a taste. So now I am going to, there's two options. Either I'm gonna get back the files I have deleted, or I am going to try that Astro works. I think we should do we should check this works. To do so, I am going to install the dependencies that we've talked about. So npm, the program that goes in the cloud and fetches code for you, as an install commands. And what this install commands does is it looks into this. Sorry, I'm gonna make this a bit smaller. Please do let me know if it becomes too small for you, but it's really cramped. It looks at this package.json file, and it looks at these dependencies here, which are all the programs that need to be there for your project to work, and then installs them on your machine. So here I'm gonna run npm install, and this is going to be downloaded code. Is this being recorded? Yes, and also yes, meow. Someone is very opinionated today. Well, let me catch up while this runs. So just using the move to Astro and all other commands will move it to Astro then. No need to go to the Astro side. Can do it directly in the from VS Code. So the move to Astro is not really a command that's related to Astro. That is when I did git switch move to Astro, I created a branch on my Git repository, and so that's a copy of my code. That this is unrelated to moving to Astro. This is just if I do things wrong, I can go back to a better point, and also this is good practice thing. Nothing to do with Astro per se. What installed Astro was this command npm create Astro at latest, which gave us that super cute interface that you've seen and helped us generate all the series of files, which are the ones that you need for Astro. And in particular, what it does is it creates this package.json file, which is a file that you will find in a lot of projects that are based on npm and JavaScript and Node.js. And these will have bot commands you can run, but also this series of dependencies that are programs that you can install in your projects through commands like npm install that we just saw. And that's how you install Astro. And we will now see how we are also going to move the code to there. But this is what's creating Astro. Using the power of anthropomorphization for good. That's the FujoGuide promise, you know. Everyone's want CMD the nerd also hi says everyone wants TypeScript to be strict with them. I am taking notes. Yes, I am also taking notes. Ria discovers that it's called Houston because it's Astro and it's an astronaut. Yes. The Astro side doesn't really store the code that makes their SSG work. It has documentation to tell you how to set up website, and it has templates for you to browse, but they all tell you to do a process like this to get started. And Jadine says, I've tried Astro, and basically when this is clearly for programmers, I'm out. I'm hoping this helps. If we have time at the end of this, I can try to show you how to do this through something like Replit or any of the starters that Astro has. And you know, please do let us know where we lose you, if we lose you. No question all questions are great questions. And you know, sometimes these things may take some trial and error to understand, but we'll be doing a lot of work with this, and feel free to come back and be like, hey, this thing confused me last time, or you know, even just, hey, Miss Boba, can you like do a stream that explain this bit? I will do that. Just let me know. Ria says, worth saying that you could name your branch whatever you like. Yes, this could be the live stream branch. This still sounds too complicated. Not gonna lie, it's gonna sink in. You can do it. Believe. It just gets easier. It is scary. I want to validate that it is scary for people the first time they go through it. The first few times, like it's not just like, oh, this is super easy, you know, like it's natural. It does take a little bit of time to get used to it, but it is very much within your reach. Okay. Ria says this task can be really overwhelming. Yeah, it is overwhelming. People people have been overwhelmed by it and they've gotten past it. And we're here to help you do that. Okay, so going back to where we were, we have run the create Astro latest command. We have gotten everything here, all these cool files, and then we have run the command npm install, and this has installed. It has gone through all the dependencies, downloaded all the files, and they're now installed on our computer. Here it says, because people have been bit by this, it says 5 moderate severity vulnerabilities, run npm audit fix to fix them. Don't. It's okay. I know it sounds scary. There's a lot to say about this, but it's fine. It's fine. You're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Just ignore it. Okay, and so what does it mean that it is installed? You can see here there is this new folder that's called node modules, and this is where your code gets installed. So if you go down here, there should actually be the Astro folder, which has all the actual code for Astro. That you're not gonna ever touch this. You don't want it, but consider it a black box. But that's what's happening. So now if I go git status, I have a lot more. I have all the files that have been now created. I have apparently a git ignore file that I didn't think I got yesterday. Okay, this git ignore file is a special file that tells Git about files not to keep track of, and we want to have. So this already has node module. If you do this manually and don't get a git ignore file, please do not upload node modules do not check them in your Git repository. You're not gonna die, but it's really heavy and you don't need them. And then we want to add VS Code, this VS Code folder here that is just settings for VS Code that do not need to be shared. If I save, this VS Code becomes gray, and now when I do git status, it is gone from the list of files that Git is keeping track on. Barrier. So basically ignore the git ignore. Well, the git ignore is like, it tells Git what to ignore. It's Git's shit list. And so now the last bit, we have all the files that have done Astro, and now for the real moment of truth. Here you say that we have these old files that were the ones we moved in a public folder, and they're currently deleted. So now I am going to restore them. I'm going to tell Git, you remember those files I've deleted? Never mind, get them back. And we can do this through, I have not saved the command, I should have saved the command. I think git checkout. Oh my god. Well, okay, I'm gonna do it the way I would do it, which is not necessarily the right way to do it. So I think if I do git restore, well, it is the right way to do it if it works. It's not necessarily the one that was suggested yesterday. So if I do git restore public, it should restore the files as they were in the public folder as they were in the previous commit. So now if I go in public, here, look, there is both images and index.html. within it. And so I got back the files. See, it was very easy. That's the power of Git. You deleted the file, accidentally or not, and now with a simple command, I've gotten them back, and they are in the public folder. So now, if I go to, actually, sorry, I want to first test that it works without this, so I'm gonna remove this again, and I can just restore them with that command. So just want to show you that this works. I am going to run Astro, actually. So I'm going to run, sorry, not Git, npm run, which runs the command, allows you to run this command in the script bit of the package.json file. And I'm going to do npm run dev. And now this gives me, let's go with this. This gives me a URL that I can copy, and now I can go to my browser, I can put in that URL, and when I go here, here is the Astro website. This is it, the Astro website. It's there, it's working. Baby. The opinions. And I can make edits to this. If I go to the src folder and I go to pages and I go to the index page and I put a exclamation point here and save, you see, automatically updates to have the exclamation point. I'm gonna go up there, baby. Okay. Are we excited about the Astro website? It automatically updates it. It's very cool. Okay, so our Astro website is working. Oh, hey, Pama. Yes, a noisy kitty. And Kitty has opinions on code. She has opinion on everything. So now a big question that people might have is, does this work if I take all of this and update it to something like NeoCities or like a hosting website, or wherever you classically upload websites to? And the answer is not yet, because these are not regular HTML files. This is files from a static site generator, and in order to get HTML out of a static site generator file, we need to generate the HTML, and that's a process that's usually called building the site. So here, if we go to package.json, you can see there is a build command. And so in this build command, we can do npm run build, and you can see this is generating static routes. This is just saying, I'm taking your src pages index.astro file and I'm creating an index.html file from it. Now there is a new folder that's called dist, and within this folder there is okay, we're back. So npm run build, blah 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 blah, a lot of output, generating static routes. In here it says, from your src pages index.astro file, I've created an index.html one. And so here we have a new dist folder, which is where the output of your static site generator lives. If you click on in index.html, you will find the actual code for our website, and you can see that if I put the index.astro and index.html files one next to the other, they are very similar, but this bit here where there is meta name, generator, and content, here content is astro.generator. Take it for granted, that's an Astro function. and here it has been changed to Astro v2.7.1. So this is not correct HTML. Your browser will not know how to interpret it. But this one is actually HTML, so it's been generated. And now if you do want to now what can you do with this folder? You can take those files and you can upload them to any hosting provider where you would upload handwritten HTML files, and that will work. It's really just an HTML website that has been created through a program. Okay? Any question here? Does this make sense? In the meantime, I'm silently going to restore the public folder again. Yes, we aren't deleting the files anymore. I haven't gotten back a yes on whether it makes sense. Okay, I got a question. So you leave the index.astro alone and you keep working in the HTML one since the Astro one will update automatically? Kind of the opposite. You work on the index.astro file, and then when you run the build command, that will create the HTML one. So the index.astro file here is what you're going to be working with and on. And we will see why. There is some cool syntax that is invalid in HTML file but is valid in Astro, and it makes your life so much easier. But this is index.astro is your canonical file. Let me see if I can get rid of the squiggly line. I can. I thought I could restart the TypeScript. It's okay. So that's pretty nifty. Kind of like PHP header and footers on every PHP page in terms of updating. Yes, it kind of is like that. It is, with PHP, something you can do is you can include bits of code in a page, kind of like when the page is requested. Because and here you can do something similar, but instead of doing it when the page is requested, you do it before you upload the page. And that's where static site generator comes from. It's not generating in response to requests for files done to a server. It's been generating beforehand. So it's slightly simpler than PHP, but the idea is the same. You can do includes, you can do calculations, you can do a lot of cool things that HTML does not allow you to do. So yeah, this is why it's a bit scary, but it's worth learning. It really does make it easier, and it is easier than PHP. But other than being easier than PHP, it's a lot more portable, because PHP needs a hosting service that supports PHP, while a static site generator works anywhere HTML page works. There just is an extra bit of step, which is running the generator somewhere before you upload it. Feel free to ask more if you have more questions. I'm going to create a commit, so I'm going to be saying we did our we did our website. We are confident that it is working. Let's say that we're gonna add all the files, and we are going to commit saying installed Astro on installed Astro. It has this, it's telling you it has created all these files within Git. And now we can start moving the code that we had within, oh no, sorry, Yarn, it's a different program. I have I am used to typing Yarn instead of npm, but npm run dev. Let's go back to so now we are back where we were. We have the Astro website, and now we are gonna start sorry, let me split these. So we have here at the bottom, going to try, oh, that covers it. Honestly, okay, so this, can I switch this? I'm gonna try to see. Ha, now the wait, is this, sorry, is this not showing my full browser window? Why are you being mean to me? Sorry, not my full browser window, my full editor window. I think it's cutting it a bit, but I do not know why. 1 second, streaming issues. I can do it, I can move this live. That's a totally normal thing to do. Okay, now you should see the whole thing. So here on the side there is my Astro development server running. That has to stay up while I'm developing. It's what will automatically refresh the pages, but it's usually doesn't have relevant output unless it starts yelling at you because you made a mistake. So I also have another terminal window here on the side, the one I'm typing on, and I'm going to run commands there as we go. So putting the website there on the bottom, I'm going to confirm that there is nothing in that needs committing. My Git repository is clean. My Git branch is clean. Here the last commit I made was I installed Astro. Everything looks good. So let's go update the page. So how do we do this? Hide the terminal so we have more space. And now I'm gonna get our old index.html file, and I'm going to start slowly moving some of these bits to Astro. So the title here, I'm going to change the Astro title with the one I had. I'm gonna delete things as I go, or I'm never going to figure out what I'm missing. I'm going to take this style bit with this link style sheet bit, which is just it installs fonts from the Adobe cloud thing that I have, and gives me a lot of fonts for free in exchange for my soul. I'm not gonna copy the styles right now, but I am going to take this body here and I'm going to put it in place of this H1 that says Astro. Then I'm going to save, and hopefully, ta-da, the website is here. It's the exact same website as we had, except for the styling is not there right now. This is how it looks without any styling. And so this is all it takes to really move your site to Astro. It's just editing that index.astro file the exact same way as you would edit the index.html file. Plus some little tricks we're now going to see. Who went to bed? Citrus. Good night, Citrus. Citrus. I'm sorry. I don't know why I called you Citrus. I guess it is Citrus. So let's see what else. So the other bit that we are missing right now is the style. I can copy and paste this. And let's see if it works here on the head. I'm going to try something in flight. Yeah, you can paste it in the head of your, like exactly how you do on a regular HTML page, and it will work. Here is my style. We'll see later what the other options are. And so now my code is all working. I can delete the old index.html file. And I can delete my old HTML file. The images are here in this public directory, FYI, just as a reminder. That's where they are, and that's where they're being gotten from. The URL of them starts with simply /images, because you don't need public there. Everything in public is in the root of your it's in the root of your website. So the address without anything afterwards. You don't need to specify public when you do this. And yeah, that's it. We can let's try to rebuild the website and see. So npm run build. And now you will see that this folder has gotten a little bit more complicated. But if we go to index.html, now it has all these Astro classes, because we will explain why. But the code is basically exactly the one that we said it is. And so this is the folder that you would get and shove somewhere on the web. So because we have done something that works, we're going to celebrate by committing the code. So checking what we're committing, we're committing the deletion of public index.html, and we modified index.astro. We're going to commit with a message that's like moved index.html to Astro. Okay, that's it. That's all it takes to start. Now, obviously, I can create I can create new pages. But what I want to show you before we move further is how to wrap up the pull request process. Because you may remember that we started this by making a copy of the FujoGuide website on my own GitHub account, and then making a copy of the code on my GitHub account on the on my machine. And so now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to take the code of my machine, we're going to upload it to my GitHub account, and then we are going to request that the FujoGuide people, that is me and other people here, but right now me, gently and kindly allow our code to be in their repository. Yeah, So that's what we're gonna do. The first step to it, let me make this terminal slightly less busy. And now we just need, well, let's start with VS Code. So here we are, branch clean. This becomes automatic. I like always type git status. It's like it's kind of a compulsion. Bookworm says, I like the idea of celebrating with a git commit. It's like, what's more, what says party more than a git commit? Leah says, I'm surprised you're not going to make me review your code. You should. You should write a review for my code. When I asked to do it, this is like, you played yourself, Leah. Now you're gonna have to review. Okay, so first step 1, uploading this to my GitHub. Simple command, git push origin. Origin is my GitHub. That's what it is. And we have to give it a branch to upload to, and we're gonna call it the same as my local one because that makes our life so much easier. And we're gonna push it. And now here it says a bunch of things that I do not honestly know exactly what it means. Well, I know what it means, but I don't read it. And so here it just says, it gives you a handy link to create a pull request, and we're gonna go on GitHub and do it from there. But it just says, the last bit here is what's important. It says to https://github.com/essentialrandomness/fujowebdev.git. So that's where it uploaded it to, which is the address of my repository, and it has created a new branch. And this branch is originally called Move to Astro here, and it's called Move to Astro there too. So if I now go to my browser, and if I now go to GitHub, and I go to my own GitHub, and I go to the FujoWebDev repository, now you can see that here earlier it said one branch, and now it says 2 branches. It also let me know that there is the Move to Astro branch as recent pushes, the thing I've just done. And now I can switch branches, and now if I switch to Move to Astro, all the new files are going to be here. And so I go to src, I go to pages, I go to index.astro, and here they are. This is exactly what I had on my machine. And it's now online with a single command. And if I want to actually go back or look at how it used to be before, I can go to main. Wait, I had a moment of like, what? I go to main, but the index.astro page doesn't exist there, so it tells me not found. But if I go back to the beginning, to the root, you can say index.html here, and you can see this is how it used to be. And I can switch back and forth. But now what I want to do is I want to go, this is on my website. Now what I want to do is I want to go to the not on my website, my repository, my GitHub account. And now I want to put this on the FujoWebDev account. I can't do directly. I need to do a pull request. But before I do that, there is a question. How would it work with non-GitHub pages? Just use the deploy functions like the ones for NeoCities. So this is, it's kind of 2 separate things. Saving it on GitHub, like putting it on GitHub is just a way to store your code. And then there is GitHub Pages, which is a feature that GitHub has that allows you to take something like even a Astro generated website and host it on GitHub as a like website. I'm sure if you go on the Astro website, they explain how to use Astro with GitHub pages. But yes, you can also upload this to NeoCities, and there is a deploy function, what's called a GitHub action that you can use for that. But in short, what you want to do, regardless of where you want to upload this, is find a way to run that build command and then take the dist folder that is generated and upload it like you would a normal website. As long as you can upload files somewhere like you would a normal website files, this will work. You have a site on DreamHost. I don't know about DreamHost. How does that work? Can you upload general HTML files there? If you can, then you may need to run this on your machine and then take the output of this and put it there. But if you can upload HTML files there, it will work. Yeah, just use FileZilla and upload directly. Yeah, you just change your workflow to upload the content of dist after running the build command manually. And I'm like sure that if we work on it, we can even set it up to do it automatically. Maybe with time we can talk about how to do that. But yeah, people have done. I've gone through from something like this to automatically upload on NeoCities. I'm gonna make myself a note and see if I can give people some example of how that works by the time that we upload this on YouTube. Gonna make a note, sample of uploading to NeoCities. Okay, so from here, pull requests. Let's get this back to the main base. So compare and pull request. Now, this is a bit overwhelming. Let's go step by step. So first of all, here, see this arrow that is kind of implying that we go from the right to the left. So on the right, what you will find is my repository, here, the name, and the branch moved to Astro. So I'm going to take my repository and this branch of my repository, and I'm gonna merge it with FujoWebDev/FujoWebDev, so the repository of our organization, and I'm gonna merge them in their main branch. I'm gonna ask for them to take my code and make it become their main branch. And here I have this move to Astro. This is going to be the name of my pull request. And then I can write a message to the people in the GitHub org. And it's like, I worked really hard to move your website to Astro. Please take this code and use it for good. And then I can be like, add a reviewer, and I'm gonna add a reviewer that exists in that organization. And so Leah, you have played yourself, and now you're the reviewer. And then I create a pull request. And now there is this, here it is a pull request. So now I'm in the FujoWebDev organization. And here there is a number. Each pull request has a number. This is the fourth pull request we have on our FujoWebDev repository. And it says essential randomness, that's me, wants to merge 3 commits. Those are the checkpoints we made into FujoWebDev branch main from essential randomness branch move to Astro. So here, you see my comment. you can see if we go in the commits tab, you can see it tells people what to do, what I did. So I moved files to the public folders, I installed Astro, and then I moved index.html to Astro. You can look at all the files that I've changed. Right now it's mostly, oh no, here, look, it recognizes that I changed my index.html to be src pages index.astro, and you can see here the differences. So these are like not particularly, things have moved a bit around. It's not like extremely mind-blowing differences. But yeah, so for example, here it used to be the formatting of the EMG used to be like this, and now it's like this. So Leah could be like, oh no, bad Miss Boba, we want the format of the EMG to be different. And I would say, Leah, when you do a review now, why don't you tell me to make, since you're at it, why don't you make a header component? And when Leah does that, adds this comment, I'm gonna just talk about something. Last time I showed how we can use Vercel to automatically generate previews for the branches that we upload to GitHub. Vercel is a hosting website, and it is very professional and cool. Not as indie as NeoCities, it's not indie, but it has this very nifty feature, which is that it automatically creates preview for branches that you upload on GitHub or pull request. So here in this Vercel bot, in this pull request commented that there is a preview that's ready. Oh, here the Leah gave the comments, but I'm gonna go to the preview first of all, and if I click it, this is, you can see the address is really a lot more complicated. This is the fork that we have, but if I go inspect it, you can see there is no, that's wrong. There are the Astro classes. So this is actually the Astro website that's being previewed. It's not anywhere on the FujoGuide, on the FujoGuide's GitHub, but because I am a member of that organization, it automatically generates a preview. So Leah could go there and check not only that the code is correct, but that the website looks correct. So back to where we were. Leah was very kind and says, thanks for your artwork. Since you started this, could you please add a header for us too? Of course I can. I am a very, very helpful coder, I guess. So let's go add a header to Visual. So back to Visual Studio. Here is VS Code. So now the last bit, because I think we went through a lot today, but the last bit, I want to show you how to create a component, and then I think the next entries in this series will go very, very deep into what are components, the various bits and pieces of it. But I do want to leave you today with having seen this, because it's so good. Okay, so Leah asked me to create a header component, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this header here, this bit, and that it's going to be repeated. We can assume it's going to be repeated on all the pages, and turn it into, as I was saying, it's somewhat HTML tag looking thing that will be swapped by the static site generator into HTML once we go build. And so at that point, I will be able to put this header on any page I want, wherever I want, just by typing header, just by having an HTML tag that literally is called header. And I'm gonna, nothing like actually seeing it. So there is, this is a convention, you don't need to do it this way, but usually you add a components folder, and in this we'll create something called header.astro. Components generally have, they start with a capital letter, so that's a convention. Again, not how you have to do it, but how it's, how you look at the file and you're like, haha, that's a component. There it is. And now I am going to add this little tidbit that we don't really need right now. I don't even know if it's mandatory. It may not be. We'll see it on next stream what that means. Gonna take this header here. I'm going to paste it. And then here I'm going to write header. Oop. So here you see similar to an actual HTML tag, but I am going, well, don't know why my TypeScript isn't working, doesn't matter. I'm going to go up here in that bit that I just said, don't worry about it. Now worry about it, because I'm going to do import header from same folder component, sorry, no, not same folder. One folder up, because we are within pages right now, components, header.astro. So this is taking the header.astro bit. Here is the from. It's calling it header. It's less confusing this way, but you could call it whatever you want. And then it's taking this header tag and it's putting it here. So if I save now, if I go back here and I save, I think I don't have Astro running. Let me and Astro is running. I did the opposite of what I wanted to do. And Astro is running, and I go to localhost 300. I have the header here. If I modify it, I can see it's getting included there. You may notice that this is particularly big, much bigger than it should be. And this is because there is a pretty, one of those things that beginners are a bit like, this is confusing me, but that experts, well, not experts, but that like, they learn, people, everyone sort of learns to love with times, because it makes reasoning about stuff a lot easier. What happens is that CSS does not cross components, so the CSS that we have here in our page does not automatically apply within header.astro. So we need to make it, get it to apply, we need to actually take the bit of CSS that is supposed to be there, and then just put a style tag here. And now you can see that it is, it has applied, but also, in case this is too small, let me show you quickly. See here, there is the style. It's slightly separate. It's a, oh yeah, Windows is small. Yes, I have seen it. It is, Wait, when did it, was it small when I did the import header thing? No, right? You have code this. Let me know if I will talk to it again. But yeah, it is slightly, here it is, the style, and this applies to header here. And then there has to be, I think, something more than applies. So let me see what else. Oh, probably it's all this star thing. I'm gonna do one thing. This is going to be a bit of a cheat right now. I'm gonna make this style global so it applies to everything, and now it's bad. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna make the style global so it applies to everything, and now it's better. A bit of a cop out from me, but I'm gonna talk a second about just what it is and why it works. But yeah, so now let me just do, I do a navigation, and I do like Yule, and then I do a Lee, and then I do home, and then I do, I don't know, updates, all these things, and I go here on the page, as you can see. Oh, Leah says my logo class. You know what? You're right. Sorry, jumping there. I'm gonna try again and do the logo class. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not jumping from one bit to the other. You're very right. Look, it's now good. But what I was saying, there is this UL, this Lee with home and updates, and here I could do something like UL color red, and now wait, let me get this bigger. Now you can see that that bit here became red. But if I do if I add another UL here at the bottom, and then do Lee, we are very cool. And then I scroll down. You see, this one doesn't have the red applied. Even if in header.astro, the CSS selector is just selecting UL. If I turn this style into a global style, you will see that that the we are very cool turns red. And that's because this is just how CSS normally works. It applies to everything on the page. But when you do components, the CSS only applies by default to the HTML, to the CSS classes and HTML tags within your component. And this means that you don't have to worry about giving a class, for example, to this UL. You can just say UL. Like, you know, normally you would have, if you have like various lists in your page, you need to give them all a different class. You need to make sure that your different CSS styles do not kind of end up overlapping each other's. But with components, you don't have to worry about it all unless you actually tells it to do something globally. You can very much fence your code so no one else but your actual component is going to be impacted by changes you make there. And it makes it a lot simpler. I think, you know, it may be hard to wrap your head around a little bit, but it becomes really something that just makes everything easier. And what else is there to say? Give me 1 second. Yeah, that's how it is. That's how components work. I other thing I'm gonna say before I do before I clean this up and do the commit is, now if I create a new page, for example, updates.astro, so every page it's here. Normally I would create a layout component that is the general layout of a page. Sorry, I haven't done it. Let me just to copy literally all of this, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do, but like I just want to show you the important bit. So here we have our ad again. I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna close the HTML. I'm gonna add the body, and then I'm going to say this is the updates page. So now if I go to the website and then updates, this is the updates page. See here at the bottom. So forget it, we'll do it live. Yes, we're doing it live. So this is a new page that we have, and now I can take this header here, and here I can just use it once again as a regular HTML tag, and now it's there. There's some styles that do not apply because I've not copied the style tag, but it's there. See, I don't by doing header, I get everything that is there. And now if I want to add a third page that is fun stuff, there it is there, and it is also on the main page. That's how this makes it a lot easier. Hi, Nginx. Yeah, this is it. It's so much easier. You know, I kind of want to explain it, but I think it is. But I think it is kind of self-explanatory how this makes it easier. If you've ever done a website that's more than one page, this is kind of revolutionary. I guess what you're asking, should I learn Python of JavaScript plus Node.js for a first language? I am pretty biased, but I do suggest JavaScript and Node.js. I think, you know, the real answer is, it depends on what you want to do. But the answer I give is, I think JavaScript with Node right now can do almost anything that you want to do. It has a lot of tooling, and it has a lot of support, for example, from online editors. And especially I think web development is just a really great programming type of programming to start with, because you can see it and touch it, and you can give it to people, and people can interact with it in a way that is a lot easier than it is with Python. And you know, to me, the really fun part of programming is you get to share the things you built with others, and it's a lot easier with Node and JavaScript than it is with Python. That's my thinking, and that's what I recommend. So Jadine says, pretty similar to PHP. Sorry, I keep making that comparison. No, don't be sorry. People used to do this with PHP. This is a totally legitimate still way to do it. There's still people that love PHP. And it is how I started actually doing things like that, PHP. I still hold it dear in my art, even if I haven't touched it in like 15 years. But yeah, Nginx says, arigato. yeah, so like, yeah, don't worry about the PHP comparison. Anything that like makes it click in your brain. I think a lot of people go to PHP for what is called the server-side include, which is getting this code from, which is including HTML code from other files within within an HTML file, within another HTML file, and that's exactly what components are. But as I was saying, it's slightly different because this is going to be built when you run the npm build command, run build command, and then you can put it anywhere, while with PHP you need a web server that supports PHP. Do I need to know JavaScript to learn Node.js? Node.js is JavaScript runtime. I think basically Node.js is JavaScript that can be run as a server. JavaScript used to only be able to be run within a browser, but now it can be run on a machine, like I'm running it on my command line, and that is what people call Node.js. If you to learn Node.js, you are going to have to learn JavaScript. It's just a different way and environment to run JavaScript in. So yeah, you can't learn Node.js without JavaScript, is what I'm saying. But I think any Node.js tutorial is going to be explanatory there. Before we move forward with the last bit, I am going to go back to my VS Code, and I'm going to effectively build this website. Oh god, yarn. Sorry, npm run build. So this is going to build once again the website. Now you can see there are two pages, the index.html and updates/index.html. So if I go on my build folder, you will see that in index.html there is the nav, and then in updates there is the nav, and in the index there is also the same nav. So what really just happened is the code got copied in both HTML files. One thing that people do not like about static site generator is, you can see here there is a lot of classes, extra classes that are called Astro and a series of number. I understand it looks a bit less clean, but this is what allows the cool things where the code, the CSS of your navigation doesn't impact the CSS in other components, because they're underneath the static site generator is using these special names to make sure that it only applies where it should. So it's an unfortunate part of it, but it still also has the class names that you give it. So this logo here is still there. So if you want to do things with the classes, they are there. That's just an additional one. Jadine asks, so the Astro number goes here in that Lee class are basically a callback to each component, separate pages or part without having to have them in the same page. I have kind of said that it is let's actually double check. So updates here it has 3EF6K SR2 here, and here is the same one. So yeah, I think if we go somewhere, there has to be a CSS file. If we search for this, oh wow, this is all on one line, but if I save it, it's gonna go in more lines. If I look for this, it's not there. Yeah, see this bit here? This is the CSS that we had in our component, and it's the same as it used to be, as it is there, but it has this addition of where Astro with the bit of class that was added, and what it does is it ensures that that CSS is only applied where there is on a header that also has this class, or on a logo that also has this class. That's how it works underneath. How does it generate the unique ID? Just a random string. It doesn't matter. Like, for the developer, you're not, it's there, but you don't have to think about it. And can you rename them? Some static site generator allow you to write your own custom logic to generate this. I have no idea if Astro does. Let's wrap this up, because I am at the 30 minutes over the 1 hour and a half that I have given myself. But we can stay longer. Just want to finish this last bit. So, okay, let's go clean this up and do and finish our code review. So I am removing this nav. We don't need it. So I'm also removing the UL. I'm going to delete our updates.astro page because we don't have it yet. I think the other bit I did is I added some squiggly lines, some UL down here. I'm gonna save it. I think these are all the differences. If I actually go here on the GitHub tab, GitHub helps me. Oops. So here you can, this is the VS Code GitHub integration. Well, Git integration. It tells me which files have changed, and when I click on them, it shows me the difference. So this file didn't used to exist. It now does. And you deleted the closing style tag. Thank you. There. And this is the difference. There is not much difference because it didn't exist. But now index.astro, let me close this. I have the difference is I've imported this header that wasn't there before, and then I have removed some CSS. And now instead of this header here, there is an header component. And so this looks good. So I can go do a commit. I have an extra. Okay, I am going to try this before I commit. Okay, I see how it is. So it looks theoretically good. We're gonna try it before we move further. What was I gonna say? One thing that just comes to mind to say now is, part of the one thing that I haven't said that components do really well is that they allow you to also shorten the amount of CSS that you have in other pages. Like, if you look at how it used to be and like how we got rid of header and logo, you see all this roster, all this call to action, these are all going to go in their own components. And so I don't have to go up and down a lot of CSS trying to find where I defined the CSS for the particular thing I'm looking at. I am just going to have the CSS for the roster within the roster component, the CSS for the call to action within the call to action component, and then I'm gonna breathe free and make edits like super quickly as a pro without worrying about, oh God, where is everything? Okay, testing it because I apparently cannot. Oh God, Yarn, sorry. It really gets, it really becomes a reflex. So browser, this looks good. It works. I'm gonna do another edit. Oh, no, okay. I wanted to do as seen on Kickstarter instead of Becca's on Kickstarter. we add everything to a new commit. And then we are gonna do git commit -m created header component. Too much yarn, yes, too much yarn. Now there is, look, if I do git log, there is the move to Astro branch. Wait, okay. If I go git log, which allows me to see how my git everything is doing, there is my latest commit create header component here. Here is head is basically telling me this is where you're at now, and it's telling me that I am in my move to Astro branch, which is at the created header component commit. It's also telling me that origin, so my GitHub, has a move to Astro branch, which is still at the previous. It's still in the previous state, so moved index.html to Astro. And it also tells me that my main and my origin main and my main here are still on add link on roster pick. This is literally just to show you how you can figure out what happened in your code through git log. So here I made the change, and now I'm gonna push it again to my repository. And now, you know, I don't usually do pull requests, so if I have done everything correctly, I'm gonna go back to my pull request here for the sorry, I got it. I'm gonna go back on the Fujo Web Dev organization. I'm gonna go back to the pull request I opened 32 minutes ago. Gonna go here, and if I have been good, there is now a new commit that is create header component. So go in files changed. Now we can see the changes we made. Header has been removed, the logo has been removed. Now this all header thing has been transformed to the header HTML-like tag. Somewhere here there should also be header. Here it is, the header component. So now there is a new commit in the PR. So I go to the conversation and I go to Leah and I say, can I? Sorry. Oh, I think you did it as a global comment, and then I do done. Please review again. I comment. I can hit this bit to tell Leah that I want the review again. And Leah will now hit this rebase and merge command, and this will merge it there. I could do it, but I want Leah to do it. Ellen says, I love that it shows the changes. It's so good, right? It's so good. It's really useful because it makes collaborating a lot easier. You know, like someone fixes a typo, it's gonna tell me exactly the sentence they've changed, and yeah, that allows me to review. And then the comment process, I can be like, hey, why don't we change this sentence to, I don't know, maybe active form, or, you know, this is a bit unclear. You can do review of like code, of like text with this too. This is how me and Lee are collaborating on writing FujoGuide right now. We have a repository, and we write Astro files for the text. Jokes on you, my privileges. Leah says, jokes on you, my privileges are wrong. I can review code but not merge. Oh, so what you're saying is Miss Boba played herself. Okay, I'm making a note to also give you what is it called? Give Leah privileges to merge. a new to-do. And so here, pretend that I am Leah. I am gonna click rebase and merge, and I'm gonna confirm it. And now my pull request is successfully merged and closed. So if I now go to the code in the Fujo Web Dev org, now this is Astro. This is Astro, see? This is how it used to be. And it says essential randomness created header component. That's mostly because I merged it, and I don't know why it calls me in two different ways. This would be Leah and me if Leah had merged it. But yeah, now Fujo Web Dev is on Astro. And if I did things correctly, if I now go to FujoWeb.dev and I inspect this page, see, it is now automatically an Astro page, because I have set up the process where changes to the main branch of the Fujo Web Dev repo of the Fujo Web Dev GitHub organization automatically get deployed to my to our FujoWeb.dev website, and so I had to do nothing but approve the changes, and the changes are now on the page. And well, that is all for the main thing. I think if people want, I can take 10 minutes to show how to do how you would go with to an Astro website with something like Gitpod or StackBlitz, one of those. But let's close this so people can kind of turn off their brain, I guess. Is there any question? I know it's overwhelming. We'll have a recording. You can go through it with me. You can reread it. I will likely. I have to do other websites, so I can likely. You will see me do this more, and we will have the chance to continue discussing and continue going through this. So that it helps everyone kind of get the concepts. But in the meantime, Ellen says, thank you so much for this. Thank you all for coming. It's my pleasure to explain this to people. I really, truly believe that you all can learn this, or fandom folks, a lot, like all types of folks can learn this, and it's going to make everyone so powerful. Like, there are so many things we haven't really touched upon, and so many more things that I can teach. And once, like, a lot of us master this, we're gonna share so much useful code with each other, and we're gonna collaborate, and we're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna, do our own things without as much need to rely on corporations, I guess is what I'm saying. Looking back, addressing the people saying thank you, and the first time chat. Hi, Snack Mutiny. Thank you for coming. I'm really glad you want to learn more. It's really gonna be my pleasure to go through all of this with you. Hello, Bone Peonies. Thank you again for coming. Jadine says this was really needed as a visual learner. Yeah, and I will also link to the Astro tutorial. When I upload this to YouTube, link to Astro tutorial in my notes. So if you are not a visual learner, wanna make sure that you also have that available. Jadine says also, Bookworm also says this was very informative. I am glad. Jadine says, to make another comparison, once you put your site up after creating it in Astro, is similar to WordPress in that it takes care of everything else necessary to be able to be seen as a site on the internet. Kinda. WordPress, it's more so there's two bits there, right? There is the bit where the site upload on GitHub gets the automated updates on my own site, and that's just a process that you can do through things like Vercel and other hosting services. And then there is a bit that we haven't seen where you can actually statically generate things like a blog, where you just write your blog post in Markdown somewhere in a folder on your GitHub repository, and that's a bit more like WordPress, where Astro will automatically generate all the files that give you a blog. So that bit there. And okay, yeah, so that's the by Bookworm. That's it for what I wanted to go through today. I'm just gonna bit of extra, and I'm just gonna do this quick because I'm also starting to feel the tiredness. But if we go to astro.new and we do I don't know which one of these. Let's do a maybe the blog. I don't know. I'm gonna do an empty project. I'm gonna keep it. There are various options for which ones you can do. I know for sure that I have a Gitpod account, so I'm gonna do it in Gitpod. They're all valid. This should, okay, whatever. Okay. This is creating a new workspace for me. It's just saying the URL is gonna get is this with Astro /Astro. It's the one that Astro.news chose. This is the editor. You can do a bunch of ones. This I'm gonna just keep the one that it is, so a VS Code in the browser. And this is just the CPU that it's going to use. Continue. Now it's preparing it. And once again, we're doing this live, so hopefully Gitpod is kind to me. It's going a bit slow, but we believe in it. Okay. So now I have something that's very, very similar to VS Code. I mean, it is literally VS Code. I don't know what that bit is, but you can see here that why is it everything a square? I don't know why everything is a square. Let's pretend that that's not happening. Okay. And maybe still loading. I'm assuming this is a folder with examples. Okay, there are node modules. Oh wow, this is a lot more files than you would normally get, but it's okay, I guess. So let's see, there should be a package.json here, which has again a lot more. Wasn't this just the basics? Damn, Astro, this does not look like just the basics, but it is the same kind of commands. Okay. And so now it's installing. sorry, this is the live thing. I'm really confused. Why is this so complicated? It's not usually this complicated, right? Is it doing a lot more? Like you can see here that it's done the same thing that I had done normally, where it created that Astro website. But I'm not exactly sure why there are so many different options here. There is like an hacker news one. But I don't know. It seems like the one that is currently using is in examples, minimal src pages index.astro. And if I edit this should also change kind of similarly to how this is similar to how I was doing it earlier. So you could come here and try everything. You can create a new folder with components, and then you can do a new file and do a I don't know, nav.astro, and then here nav.astro could be a nav. This is a nav, and then you go into here and do import nav. Nav from, yeah, it's an error occurred because that's not good code. From components nav.astro. Oh, I made components in the wrong folder. Let me move it to src. Now makes sense. It also makes sense if I use it. And here, now I have this is a nav. So I am kind of confused that Gitpod has like all this complicated setup here. I have to admit, this is really confusing to me. I'm kind of tempted to just go, to astro.new and try something else, because, okay, not what I expected. What about Code Sandbox? Okay, Code Sandbox makes more sense. See, there is just a public an src pages index.astro folder, and it is again the same thing. You know, nav, and then go. This is a nav. Well, to can't I save? Now they're all disappointing me. Now they're all. Why are you all so mean to me today? I thought this. Oh my God, Code Sandbox. Okay, Code Sandbox is also cancelled. Stack Blitz. I choose you. Okay, Stack Blitz, our savior. Please actually work. Actually work in a way that makes sense. Okay, are we ready? Moment of truth. Index.astro. Nav. This is a nav. I save. Whoo, look at that. Truly the truly high levels of actually working that were previously unimagined. Nav.astro, and then I move this nav here and save. Okay, it's reinstalling dependencies for some reason, but it is strictly better than the other ones. Import nav from components nav.astro, and I save. I reload this page. Okay. Sorry, I'm not sure what. I guess this technology can still use some help, but oh, it stopped my okay. Shh. This is fine. This is fine. It's just because it's just because this is being done live, and so this is you know, it's having the I am live sorta problem. Oh, maybe I need to hit this one. Nav is not defined. You are not defined. It is defined here. Oh, sorry. I bet it's this. Yeah, sorry. That's the. It was all my fault that didn't. You can't have the spaces there. So it seems like Stack Blitz wins this one. You can use Stack Blitz. And you know, try it, and then I think you would need to look at the documentation for Stack Blitz, but I think you can sign in with your GitHub and then do kind of the same process I did with the FujoGuide site, but you're gonna be cloning, you're gonna be, well, not forking, but you're gonna be using the Astro starter Git template to initialize your own repository, and then you're going to be making the updates there. And if you do want to try Astro and you do not want to go through the whole oh my god, command line, well, not command line, but like, you know, oh my god, setting up a local development environment and like getting npm and doing all the npm install and things, this is one way to like start deciding whether the learning curve is worth it for you. And Leah says, someone screwed up their Gitbot setup. It's pulling the config file for the whole Astro repo. Yeah, that did look like not the right Gitbot setup. We all of their starters are the same. We could file a issue on the repo. I am like really surprised that no one has told them. Maybe let's do this together. Do we want to be kind? Do we want to be kind? Let's go to astro.new. Let's see if they have a GitHub here. Gonna go in professional things. Issues, I'm gonna see here in the issues tab. Well, first of all, see this is the Astro. This is the Astro code on GitHub. And here you can actually, if you do like Astro and you're like, I wanna start collaborating on these and like make changes to actual Astro, you can do it. There are 530 people that apparently have done it until now. You go with and also like, look, they have pull requests of people that are making changes to it, like what we saw earlier. But now we're gonna go to issues. Scroll up to the it's like, wait, scroll up to the repo name. With Astro. Is it? Do they have their repository for the? No, these are the docs. You can also update the docs if you find that their explanation of confusing. You can go change their documentation. Just saying, you know. And you can open in like all of these and just get and do the update to the documentation within the same kind of Gitpod code sandbox things we saw. Anyway, Astro repo, we're gonna go to issues. We're gonna click here and we're gonna check if anyone has an issue open that says Gitpod. Doesn't seem like it is issue Gitpod. Looking, these are the closed one, because maybe someone said, yeah, you know, that is, we are not closing that because that is absolutely what we want. I'm also going to do one thing, and I'm going to check astro.new if anyone has ever made a how do you call it? If anyone has ever made, I opened an issue that mentioned Astro.news, so I can, get a bit of a, okay, yeah, it seems like people, it seems like this is the right place. Just looking a little bit. Yeah, this seems, what is this? Just looking at how it is mentioned. Oh, this is, can you provide a reproduction? That's okay, you know what? We are gonna just make a request. The worst I can say is that we did it the wrong way. So if I click here on new issue, oh, sorry, Alan says, I got a bounce thanks to my battery running down. Thank you again so much, and everyone have a great evening. Bye, Alan. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna finish it, and we're going to be done. Bug report a security vulnerability, documentation, ideas for new features, chat or support. Oh, interesting. Look, some of them are just links. Report a security vulnerability as view policy. I didn't know any of this was possible. Okay, bug report. Get started. Title. Git pod configuration. What did Leah say? Git pod configuration. Pulls. Pulls all repository. I don't know. Like I want to try to like keep it to what I'm sure I know how to express. I can say the git pod configuration as shows more files than it should. What version of Astro are you using? Why would you make me do? Can I do? Doesn't matter. Any known. This does not feel like I'm in the right place. Okay, I'm gonna copy what Leah says, and I'm gonna say here, I'm going git pod config for Astro.new projects seems wrong. I'm gonna put a default on git pod, and I'm just gonna copy and paste this everywhere. I wonder how much, like, all of these kind of like these questions make no sense is actually stopping someone from telling them. That happens. Using starting a Astro project from copying pasting what Leah says from Astro.new seems to pull the entire with Astro repo. I can probably attach a screenshot from it. Let me opening Gitpod. I'm gonna redo this. Gonna continue, so I can show them that this is a thing. And then I'm gonna say this screenshot shows what we the screenshot shows Gitpod after I selected the basic starter option. Well, the minimal example, I think it was minimal, yes. And then here it's going I mean, I feel like please ignore that also everything is a square for reasons that are not clear to me. Copy and paste in the image the minimal here. And I can say this was it was very confusing and it took me a while to understand what was going on. What's the expected result? Only the minimal site configuration, only the files in the minimal configuration are shown on the Gitpod workspace, like in the other online editors. Link to minimal reproducible example. Use Astro.new to create a minimal reproduction of the problem. Literally just start Astro.new. I guess I can just link them to this. How do I link them to this? Again, this could be easier if for some reason it wasn't all squares. How do I search, source control, run and debug, extension, GitHub, share. Maybe not. More complicated than it should be. What about under here? I am going to go look if this is in my Gitpod account when not going through from this. Dashboard. Okay, here it is. It's here. I'm going to literally share. Okay. Open, I guess. I am assuming. Okay, I'm gonna paste this here. Actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go and copy this, and I'm gonna open it a second in an incognito window just to check that it shows. I don't know. Look, I'm just gonna put that address there, and they're gonna. The worst thing that can happen is they're gonna be, oh, she doesn't know how to do this. Yes, I am not. I do not know. I've never done it. I'm willing to submit a pull request for this issue. Sorry, dude. I have no idea how to do a Gitpod config. We submitted it, and then now we wait, and hopefully they're very kind to us for, kinda. Kinda just replying, not what I suspect they were expecting any of us to reply there, and we will see what comes out of it. I'm just gonna paste the link to the issue in the chat so that you can look at it if you want, and I guess I'll let you know what happens from it. Hopefully they fix it, because that was very overwhelming and kinda scary. But with this, we really are done. There is nothing more I can teach you. Go. Yeah, no, there are more things I can teach you, but there is nothing more I can teach you for today. I am going to go drink boba, I guess, or I don't know yet. Thanks for coming, everyone. This was a lot of fun. I am going to have the recording up in a little bit, and you're gonna get the announcement both on socials and on the Kickstarter. So, thank you all. See you next time. Okay? Bye.